You're looking good, and it feels good to be here today. This is News with the Eyes of Faith, and I'm Kendall Bryan Hunter, and I discuss news from the perspective of Jesus Christ and the doctrine of Jesus Christ. So, first item on the news, Joe Biden is still president. I'm glad that the party responded to the public outcry and public pressure, so it really is a Democratic Party. But he's still in office. And remember, the reason why he isn't running is because his mental acuity issues. Bowl of soggy Fruit Loops. If he's not fit for re-election, why is he fit to still be serving as president? Never forget and always remember that. Item 2. Biden is in his second week of vacation. So here's his campaigning. Joe Biden is on vacation, and who is really running the country? I realize that they have communications, they can telecommute as president, but it's the whole mental acuity issue. If his brain is a bowl of soggy Fruit Loops, what's he taking a vacation from? Well, what was that? That was... the next item is the Pew Research came out with this interesting study about Christians and being a member of the Democratic Party. That if you're a Democrat, you're less likely to be a Christian. And you see the same thing with some atheists. For example, this book, Letter to a Christian Nation by Sam Harris. He's one of the four horsemen of the British atheist movement. And he has this sentence here. This is on page IX. Page IX of this book. And he talks about, I have little doubt that the liberals and moderates find the eerie certainties of the Christian right to be troubling as I do. Eerie certainties of the Christian right. Well, is he certain about that? And does it feel eerie? And from Richad Dawkins in his essay called Atheists for Jesus, which has been republished in The Portable Atheist by the late Christopher Hitchens, he says, if scientific theories could vote, evolution would certainly vote Republican. If scientific theories could vote, evolution would certainly vote Republican. Well, if evolution is a scientifically correct theory, then why don't you vote Republican? Is it those eerie certainties? So it's interesting, Democrat, and you're not a Christian, and this is anecdotal, but you may have seen this in your own ward. Members who are Democrat kind of chuff and fluff at things that come from the church. Sorry, my glasses are a little bit off. Let me switch glasses. And this is anecdotal, but do you notice that? And there's a reason why. First of all, you have the obvious abuses of Christianity, and I don't deny those, although as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we have a different position. We believe that there was a great apostasy, and so we denounce things that were done during the great apostasy. And the reason why we needed a restoration with Joseph Smith is because of those abuses. So we're kind of playing both sides of the fences there, but I understand our position's a little bit different. However, Judge Robert Bork, who was a colleague and a close personal friend of President Dallin H. Oaks, in his book called Slouching Towards Gomorrah, talks about individualism and egalitarianism, extreme individualism and extreme egalitarianism as the problem, issues with authority and issues with hierarchy, which is what you get in a church. You also have community and the exclusivity claims that you have a community, but you also sharp on the exclusion, excommunication processes, or we use church discipline now as our term. I'm sorry, the little prop problems right here. That's a little bit better. So you kind of see that if you're a Democrat, you're for individualism, egalitarianism, but also community. And you see there's a tension between community and egalitarianism. Or community and individualism, that those are you can't reconcile those, so it's an interesting tension. So next news item is SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States. So there's two different stories. One, Donald Trump was re-indicted. That what happened is Trump was indicted, and this is with the Jack Smith, and the Supreme Court ruled against him. This is the one with presidential immunity. And so what he did is he resubmitted his plea, and so Trump got reindicted. Now, Dallin H. Oaks said, the bureaucratic army is never demobilized, that if you settle one battle, they'll simply shift forces to another front. That's from his biography called In the Hands of the Lord, chapter 11. The bureaucratic army is never demobilized, that if you settle one battle, they simply shift forces to another front. And that's what's going on. This is not warfare, this is lawfare. Read the book 3 Felonies a Day, and it talks about it. Now, the second story dealing with SCOTUS, SCOTUS once again strikes down Joe Biden's, or whoever's really running the country, the student debt cancellation plan. You remember the first time was done last year, and President Biden kept pushing, and the Supreme Court struck it down again for the second time. Remember that quote from Dallin H. Oaks I just said? Never give up, never surrender. And remember what President Oaks said when he talked about the Constitution of the United States. Clearly, this whole thing about debt cancellation is unconstitutional, but they're not backing down. They're just going to keep shoving that pig's head against the wall to make it stick. Now, here's the last point. This has to do with the persuasion war. If you call it debt forgiveness, it will happen. If you call it debt cancellation, for some upple thing, because that's appealing to your higher motives. Oh, we need to forgive people. Well, I paid back my student loans in their entirety. And I learned a lot about self-discipline in that process, which I have not trained. In fact, the self-discipline I learned in the process of paying back my student loans was as important as my college education. Next item, Zuckerberg admits that the Biden and Harris administration pressured him to squash a Hunter laptop story. Now, keep that in mind with Twitter files, and every conspiracy theory that you believed during COVID-19 actually turned out to be true. Yes, there was suppression on social media. Yes, there was. You're not getting a clear, concise message. Yes, the government was trying to squash something that was harmful to a relative of the president. The federal government was censoring important news. And when you voted, you did not make an informed decision because you did not have all the facts before you. Next item, Mark Hamill. Now, he's been campaigning for President Biden, and he had a visit in the Oval Office. I follow him on X, and it's always fun when you see Mark Hamill and William Shatner interact. They're from different franchises, Star Trek and Star Wars. But they have a good rapport. It's just fun to, just good, clean fun to watch. And he's been campaigning for Biden, and now he's switched to Harris. However, he keeps insulting MAGA people. So what he says is, says MAGA people, go force yourself. So I have this official statement, and I quote, I respect your choice, and I respect you as a person. But with those insults, never again speak of toxic fandom when you are the purveyor of toxic celebrity. You can do better, and I hope you do. End of quote. I'm Kendall Bryan Hunter, and I improve that message. So that's the end of the news from the perspective of the gospel of Jesus Christ. So here's a life hack. Add to your skill set. Now think of Lindsey Sterling. She plays the violin. She plays the violin while dancing, so violin dancing, and then she has very incredible videos. You can read about this in her autobiography, co-written with her sister. It's a good read. I recommend reading it. I disagree with her position on abortion and on how you should wear the temple garment, but I respect her as a person, and as someone who's single myself, I know there's a lot of friction that if you're not married in the church, there's some tension there. But think about the three things that she added to her skill set: violin, dancing, and video editing. So, as she admits, she's not Jenny Oaks Baker. Oh, the Oaks family keeps coming up in this this thing, but she's not. And you can tell, and that's no big secret. But combining violin playing with dance, and then video story, it's a powerful package. And you can do the same thing in your life. If you speak Spanish, learn how to speak Portuguese. Se você fala português, você aprender a falar espanhol, castelhano. You can learn French. If you play a piano, you can switch to organs. There is a little bit different. It's funny watching a piano player play the organ because you pound a little bit harder on the keys and when you play the piano, but which you don't need to do with an organ. But that's your life hack. Always add your skill set. Well, that's the news with the eye of faith. Thank you.